Social media is a very powerful tool, but we're here because
Everyone's
every parent
favorite
I know, and
Keebler
I think
elf.
every parent in America is terrified about the garbage that is directed at our kids. I have 2 teenagers at home, and the phones they have are portals to predators, to viciousness, to bullying, to self-harm. Mr. Zuckerberg, in June of 2023, the Wall Street Journal reported that Instagram's recommendation systems were actively connecting files to accounts that were advertising the sale of child sexual abuse material. In many cases, those accounts appeared to be run by underage children themselves, often using code words and emojis to advertise illicit material.
Even this really is probably a step up from how the internet used to be. I really cannot overstate the fact. Like, everyone needs to remember that not a decade ago, one of the largest subreddits was r/jailbait, which had an open secret child pornography trading system in the DMs for frequent users of the subreddit, and pictures of very young looking girls in bikinis would just get like 30,000 upvotes, with people in the comments going, wowzer, would go to jail for her. And that was one of the most popular subreddits, and it only got removed after pressure from the media. Wait, it went that far? Yes! Yeah, the current CEO of Reddit was a mod for that subreddit. Yes, for r/jailbait.
In other cases, the accounts included indicia that the victim was being sex trafficked. Now, I know that Instagram has a team that works to prevent the abuse and exploitation of children online. But what was particularly concerning about the Wall Street Journal expose was the degree to which Instagram's own algorithm...
Is that the guy who's been... Yeah, this is you/Spez right here. This is the CEO of Reddit.
...was promoting the discovery...
You can't see it, right? It says Mr. Spez on the little nameplate.
...ability of victims for pedophiles seeking child abuse material. In other words, this material wasn't just living on the dark corners of Instagram. Instagram was helping pedophiles find it by promoting graphic hashtags, including hashtag pedwhore and hashtag preteen sex to potential...
Wow, not much euphemism there, huh? Not a lot of covert, you know, wordplay, just pretty upfront.
Instagram also displayed the following warning screen.
Oh, here we go.
To individuals who were searching for child abuse material. These results may contain images of child sexual abuse. And then you gave users 2 choices. Get resources or see results anyway.
Jesus Christ. Astronomically uncommon Ted Cruz W. Yeah, that's pretty bad, guys. I don't know. That's pretty bad. Oh my God. So everything in social media's algorithm, you know, everything in social media is like algorithmically controlled to a large extent. And the argument some people will make is, well, how could a social media company possibly control, like, if random hashtags or whatever go viral? To which 2 big answers. For one, if they have enough oversight on what the algorithm recommends to have a warning like this, but not take down the material that it's guarding, that's pretty, you know, that's pretty indicative. And number 2, you should have people overlooking the system. You know, it actually doesn't take that many people to look at what's trending, right? Like, you can get, proportional tables on hashtags and their like relative levels of use, you know? If you have certain words that usually get used this many times a day, but they've been used twice as often, like, that shows up. Like, Twitter has access to that info. I assume all the social media companies do. If any hashtag, like, what was it called? Pedo something, whatever the fuck those hashtags were, like, they can see that the trend, like, they have the info, you know? So I feel like the nanosecond anything like that shows up, yeah, ped whore. The nanosecond anything shows up like that, you know, there's got to be somebody at headquarters who could just go in there and start nuking it from orbit, you know?
Mr. Zuckerberg, what the hell were you thinking?
Good, it's good. That's a good question. I mean, obviously, Zuckerberg himself didn't make this decision, but still, you know, as a proxy for the company, sure, yeah, that's a good question.
All right, Senator. The basic science behind that is that when people are searching for something that is problematic, it's often helpful to, rather than just blocking it, to help direct them towards something that that could be helpful for getting them to get help.
There is an element of truth to this in some cases. A good example would be eating disorders, for example. Eating disorder Twitter is a blighted place. Any equivalent to it also blighted, you know? A bunch of anorexic 16-year-olds purging because they saw a picture of a girl looking like a skeleton, but in their mind it looked good. Like, okay, so should social media companies nuke pro-eating disorder content? Yes. Fuck that shit. Those people are fucking crazy. Yes, it should. However, I can understand an argument there for like, okay, rather than blocking everything, there should be some system for like redirection. That being said, I don't think that really applies in this specific context. You know, I don't think it should be like, did you perhaps mean to look for anti-child sexual abuse materials? We can redirect you to, you know, I don't know about that.
I understand get resources. In what sane universe is there a link for C results anyway?
Well, because we might be wrong. We try to trigger this warning, or we tried to, when we think that there's any chance that the results.
Okay, you might be wrong. Let me ask you, how many times was this warning screen displayed?
I don't know, but the
you don't know. Why don't you know?
I don't know the answer to that off the top of my head. But
well, you know what, Mr. Zuckerberg? It's interesting you don't know it off the top of your head, because I asked it in June of 2023 in an oversight letter, and your company refused to answer. Will you commit right now to within 5 days answering this question for this committee?
We'll follow up on that.
Is that a yes? Not a will follow up. I know how lawyers write statements saying we're not going to answer. Will you tell us how many times this warning screen was displayed? Yes or no?
Senator,
they probably do have that data.
Tell us.
Hold on. My sleep demon, the dream. Yeah, I wake up and I'm in this. And it's like instead of those results may contain images, it's like the horse cock logs. I'm here for the in the Senate hearing. You know, I can feel the flop sweat from Zuckerberg. I'm sympathizing. The Kharkiv kid finder. Did you or did you not go to Kharkiv with your quote superhuman ability to find children? What did you do with those children, Mr. Kuczynski? I'm just like, yeah.
How many times this warning screen was displayed? Yes or no?
Senator, I'll personally look into it. I'm not sure if we have.
Okay, so you're refusing to answer that. Let me ask you this. How many times did an Instagram user who got this warning that you're seeing images of child sexual abuse, how many times did that user click on see results anyway? I want to see that.
I will note, like, as is always the case, there is a lot of nuance and complexity here. Like, I'm not denying that. However, the broader point, I agree with Senator Cruz. It's like, as obviously, like, the specifics of this are very complicated, but if we're going back to the fundamental point, which is that social media apps do way too little to nuke this kind of content or to like disallow it or cordon it off or whatever, like, you know, yeah. Nuance on CB. No, nuance on the specifics of how you should block content on social media apps, you know? Because when you get into the fine wording on that, sometimes it gets really, really complicated. Like, really, really, really complicated. Like, okay, okay, this is like a bit touchy, but here's an example, right? Okay? I think that it's bad to rape people. Don't do it. Don't do it, okay? And I think that, okay, like right now, if you search up like rape on Pornhub, which is a social media site, the vast majority of results that you're going to get are actors faking rape, consensual non-consent. However, a very small portion of the content on that website is just going to be non-consent. Pornhub is relatively strict when it comes to curating its content. But what if you go to Xvideos or some other porn site? I think I only know two. I know more about furry sites than real world porn sites. What if you go to Twitter? If you looked up something like rape video real life, I bet you, I'm not going to test my theory, I bet you could probably find some really bad stuff really quickly, like with no effort. I'm just guessing that, you know, Twitter moderation isn't exactly, you know, it's not as good as it used to be, and it never was good, right? So what if you had a site like, now rape is bad, as we've established, so what if you had a website just like block, like have like a block for if you search anything resulted in rape, right? Like, maybe you would have to use the term consensual non-consent or CNC to get results on like Twitter or Pornhub, where you get like the fake rape but not real rape, like that becomes a distinction. Well, then here's the question, okay? What if a rape victim is looking up experiences or information regarding them having been raped, you know? What if there's some information they're looking for? What if, I don't know, I'll play devil's advocate because, you know, people's brains are weird. What if a rape victim themselves looks up a video of a person being raped because they weren't sure what happened to them and they wanted to see what it looked like from a third-person perspective? Not defending this behavior, But people's brains are a mess, probably more so after being raped. Just guessing that. Not a psychologist, just guessing. So in situations such as these are the weirder situations that you have to think about when you're talking about something like blocking content. Now, again, this is not a defense of Zuckerberg here. I don't think that these nuances really apply when it comes to these results may contain images of child sexual abuse. I think that in this case, you can take a pretty... You can take a pretty big mallet approach. You know, you can come at it with a big hammer. You understand, right? Anyway, that's what I meant by there being nuance. I mean nuance in the broader subject of censoring, deleting, or barring genres of content, I guess. Do you think it's one of those cases where legally you apply the, you know, when you see it, I don't know. And I mean, that also gets into a question of like your ability to identify harmful material. For example, how well can you distinguish between consensual non-consent and rape in a video? Say you see a video reported and it looks like it's rape and you ban it, and it turns out that what looked like a rape is actually two well-known porn actors just doing a scene, but a film grain was added on top of it and, a vignette to make it look as though it was being viewed through a security camera. So it gave the impression that it was a bit more... real than it actually was. And then that gets banned, and maybe a person who posted it gets banned. Stuff like this, I mean, questions abound, right? Moderation on social media has always been a difficult subject, much in the same way that law is. The difference is we have a gigantic, superstructure to manage legal problems, and it costs an ungodly number of money and employs an ungodly number of people, and we're still backed up by years for trial dates. So how well do you think things are going to go on Facebook, where rather than filing a police report, you can do an actual report in seconds? You know, billions of people use these sites, and you're dealing with regular old employees for managing and discerning what is or is not against the rules. It's tough. I've seen a porn vid where a female porn star is being beaten and really roughly treated. I thought it was insane, but that was an officially released scene, and she's into that apparently. Yeah, bitches be crazy. How can you tell with some of this stuff, right? And then there's the problem of the reverse. Yes, quite possibly that's an even larger problem.
Senator, I'm not sure if we stored that, but I'll personally look into this. And
Dude, I've seen lesbian videos that go insane with impact. All lesbians want to be bludgeoned with a paddle. I don't know what's wrong with them, but this is a universal. It's many such cases.
Follow up after.
And what follow-up did Instagram do when you have a potential pedophile clicking on, I'd like to see child porn? What did you do next when that happened?
Senator, I think that an important piece of context here is that any context that we think is child sexual
Mr. Zuckerberg,
abuse,
that's called a question. What did you do next when someone clicked, you may be getting child sexual abuse images, and they click, see results anyway? What was your next step? You said you might be wrong. Did anyone examine, was it in fact child sexual abuse material? Did anyone report that user? Did anyone go and try to protect that child? What did you do next?
Senator, we take down anything that...
This is obviously, yeah, this is fake performative bullshit. I agree with the overall point, but there's some of this is, did you try to protect that child? What child? What is that even referring to? Yeah, did you SEAL Team 6? Is it this is stupid and performative. Unfortunately, the rare instances where a good point is made, it will be immediately compromised. Oh, he gets another picture out?
We think is sexual abuse material on the service, and we do...
Did anyone verify whether it was in fact child sexual abuse material?
Senator, I don't know if every single search result we're following up on, but...
Did you report the people who wanted it?
Senator, do you want me to answer your question?
I want you to answer the question I'm asking. Did you report the people who click see results?
The thing that actually sucks is I actually would be really interested in hearing Zuckerberg give a full answer to these questions. Now, Zuckerberg, of course, is himself a weird, creepy piece of shit. I don't think Zuckerberg is ideologically pro-pedophilia, and he's not ideologically right-wing. He's just kind of a corporate tech guy, you know? I mean, corporate tech guys also tend to be pedophiles, but let's be charitable for the moment and assume that, like all other lizard people, his only sexual interest is of others of his own kind back on his home planet. So, with that in mind, I would be interested in hearing what he has to say, but he's not going to say anything because fucking Ted keeps interrupting him.